Hello and welcome to our welcome to our online patient meeting. It's good to see you here again, and of course, just a few words about Stronger Together. As you probably already know, we are gathering here every day, 2 times a day actually, to support you throughout this uncertainty because of the COVID-19, of course. And so we know you are probably struggling with not being able to go ahead with your treatments, but that is why we are gathering here every single day, so that you can find out as much as possible on any IVF, or in this case surrogacy aspects, so that you can get prepared, also get to know some top fertility experts, and of course again you will be able to ask your questions. So I hope this will be very useful for you as well. And again, thanks to our partners and ambassadors, Stronger Together initiative is actually possible. So you can see all of them right here, and some of them will have some webinars as well. Some of them, like Dr. Claudia Mika, she already had an IVF webinar with us. So you will have a chance to actually also meet those ambassadors. And as I mentioned, there are also many partners that have supported our Stronger Together initiative. And today we have with us Anna Bashlii, and she is the head of international department in Parens, which is located in Ukraine, and she will today explain everything that is actually connected with surrogacy in Ukraine, of course. So all that you will need to know. And we will start with a very short introduction from Anna, and then we will start with some of the most common questions that patients are asking. And after that, it will be time for your questions. And that will be it from me at this point. Hi, Anna. Hi.
Hi,
How are you
everyone.
feeling today?
Thank you. Great. And you?
All good, and I'm happy to have you here with us, and I can't wait to hear about surrogacy in Ukraine a bit more. So go ahead and let's start.
I'm also grateful to the Stronger Together initiative that I have a chance today to share with other people the information on the surrogacy in Ukraine, the most particular. So thank you once again. My name is Anna. As it was already told, I'm the head of the international department at Parens-Ukraine Reproduction Center. And we are here today to discuss the surrogacy process. I will tell you the important aspects of surrogacy in Ukraine, as this is the country where I and my team are working in and making a lot of couples much happier. First of all, I would like to tell you why Ukraine has become such a popular destination for surrogacy. The first reason is that the gestational surrogacy is legal in Ukraine. There is an order of the Ministry of the Health of Ukraine, which regulates all the rules and conditions upon which a surrogacy can be done. That means that the couples and both couples and surrogates, they should meet like certain criteria, but to start the surrogacy process in general. Okay, so another reason why a lot of couples have already chosen Ukraine is the financial side of the whole surrogacy process. In comparison with most of other countries in which the surrogacy is legal, in Ukraine, the prices are quite affordable in comparison to them. And in addition to the good price, you will be able to know that you will be getting high quality medical services, and it can be proven by a lot of intended parents who have already gone through surrogacy. And another advantage of starting this process in Ukraine is, despite it is a foreign country and most of our patients haven't been to Ukraine yet, but the level of their organizational services that are the integral part of each of the surrogacy programs, they will turn the whole your experience during the all the I'm sorry, during the surrogacy and the trip to Ukraine itself very safe and comfortable. You will be having a person, your personal coordinator, who will be there with you all the time. Of course, your surrogacy will start with all the legal aspects, which are also very important. So you should have a lawyer who will be there with you, supporting your surrogacy journey, and will be able to help you with any issue or any question you will be having regarding it. You should, this lawyer will take care of the contracts, all the documentation, and will give you the consultation on how should you register and proceed with the registration in your home country. And okay. Now let us maybe move to the questions.
Yes, perfect. We can start with the most common questions that we, of course, receive from the patients, and then we will go ahead with your questions. So if you have any, remember, you can type them all in the chat section, and then Anna will answer them for you one by one. So let's start with the very first question. What are the restrictions and limits in Ukraine regarding surrogacy? Is there like age limit, relationship status that is required, etc.?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is a good question because in Ukraine it is totally legal, but there are several conditions upon which a couple can actually start their surrogacy in Ukraine. This has to be a heterosexual, officially married couple, and a woman in this couple has to have a specific indication to surrogacy. Which means that she and the doctor has to support her decision in starting this journey. Which means that you have to have the specific reason why another woman has to carry the baby. One of these reasons, according to the Ukrainian legislation, is, for example, the 4 and more unsuccessful IVF attempts. It is already an indication to surrogacy in Ukraine. Also, there are such indications as, for example, the absence of uterus, and there might be some deformations of the uterus also. But in any case, any other doctor which is a specialist in any other sphere, they can write you a letter with the recommendation that you need surrogacy because of this, and that medical reason. And it will be, in that case, it will be done. As for the age, there isn't such a specific age limit. It isn't written down like in the law that up to, for example, 55, 60 years or something, and then it is totally not allowed. As a rule, patients who decide to go for surrogacy, they are 30, in the range of 30 to 55, 60 years old. So that is all good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for answering the very first question. And let's go ahead with the next one. So medical indication surrogacy treatment is, so you already have mentioned that, but perhaps some more details you could provide us.
These medical indications, a couple should not worry if they do not have that kind of letter, the confirmation from the doctor, about which I have already mentioned. Any clinic that they will address to, they will be able to help each patient, each couple with that, because they will review all the medical history and will be able to tell on which basis this couple can start surrogacy. Of course, there are such cases where a couple is addressing our clinic, but we are not able to give them the right to accept them for that surrogacy program. Because they do not have that kind of indication. There are couples which come that they say that they haven't had any of the treatment yet. They just want to do it because of the age. But the age limit for the simple IVF it isn't that strict. So there are different cases. But in any case, the doctors at the medical facility, they should help to arrange it all to make this process start. Let's say that.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you so much again for that answer. Now let me go to this one. So who can become a surrogate mother in Ukraine?
Mm-hmm. So first of all, there are legal aspects on who can become the surrogate mother. As I have told before, there is the order of the Ministry of Health of Ukraine, which regulates the assisted reproductive techniques and the surrogacy in particular. It is quite a big one. And there is written that each woman who would like to become a surrogate mother, she first of all has to have at least one healthy biological child. So it means she has to give birth to at least one healthy child. Another thing that her age has to be in the range of 18 to 35. It means that she has to be an adult and has to be a mother to a child. But we at Parents, we prefer accepting women to become surrogates starting from 20 years and ending up with 33 or something. But it also all depends on different things which might be important and they are not written in the law. But let us go back to what is required by the legislation. I will go back to that a bit later. So another thing is that in case this woman is officially married, we will need to get the consent from her husband that he agrees that she will be taking part in this surrogacy program and she will become a surrogate. So it will help to understand what is the situation in the family. It is the good restriction, to be honest, because if the couple is living together and they are not accepting this, they are not making this decision together, it might be harmful for the program itself and for the health of the surrogate baby and something. So in any case, it must be strictly regulated. It should be seen what is the situation in the family and whether there is a good environment for that woman to become a surrogate, because each surrogate has to feel that she is loved, that she is in the comfortable situation, that she's taken care of. Well, that's very important. But from the medical point of view, she has to be a totally healthy woman. She has not to have any bad habits, drug addiction or something like that. That's totally not accepted. And once the woman comes, The first evaluation starts with the consultation of the IVF specialist and the ultrasound. Once the doctor does the ultrasound, does the initial consultation, she will be able to see whether it is worth proceeding with another medical testing. There is a huge list of different tests which are required by the Ukrainian law, but a lot of clinics, they add other ones to make sure that she is like perfectly healthy and she is able to start the surrogacy process, that she is able to carry the child, because as our IVF specialists say, that the surrogacy pregnancy and any other IVF, any other pregnancy as the result of the IVF, in its course has the same possible complications and everything as the regular pregnancy. So we need to make sure that this woman can and will carry the child to the necessary term and that everything will be good. She will be doing a lot of ultrasounds. She will be having her smears done, blood tests for hormone levels, for different diseases. She will be having also a conversation with the therapist and the last doctor who like accepts the situation, and that the doctor which confirms that this woman can become a surrogate is the general practitioner. He or she takes all the tests, sees the woman, talks to her, and then he gives the confirmation that this woman can become a surrogate. So it is quite a long process, but in such way it is, it is honest. It is it is the right way to do that, both from the legal part and both from the medical part. By doing all of that, we can be sure, and our patients can be sure, that the pregnancy is most likely to go well, and that the surrogate is fully tested, and there is nothing bad may happen, is not likely to happen.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yes, there are definitely lots of aspects to consider in all of this. So it's good that the process, I would say that still, it's good that the process is actually along and it have so many things to check. Yeah, definitely. It sounds good. Okay.
Yes, there are a lot of things.
We go to the next question. What do we need to start surrogacy?
Mm-hmm. The first thing that I start thinking of when I see this question is the documentation, because as I have told before, we will need the document from the doctor who will confirm that surrogacy is the option for a particular your couple, and we will need. If we're talking about the initial documentation, each clinic has to have the passports, translated passports of couples into Ukrainian, together with the apostille if it's needed. Of course, for example, such country as let's say Poland, they do not need this apostille. But in any case, you shouldn't worry. You will be always given the recommendation, and you will know from the very beginning whether you need this or that document. But as a rule, it is both of your passports translated into Ukrainian, the marriage certificate also translated into Ukrainian, and this letter from the doctor. So these are the main documents which are needed to start the surrogacy. But in order to actually start this process, it is needed to sign all other documentation to select the surrogate. I'm sorry. To select the surrogate. In fact, she can be selected totally distantly, and all the documents can be also signed distantly. I will tell you a bit later about that. As a rule, most of our patients, most of our intended parents are from other countries, not Ukraine. There isn't a big percentage of couples from Ukraine. As a rule, for the couple to make sure they're selecting the right surrogate, they first of all they will receive 2-3 profiles of surrogates, which are already have already been tested. They are in perfect health and they are ready to become surrogate mothers, and they will be just happy to help you with that. Profile, we understand that the profile isn't something that it might be hard to choose just from profile. So we arrange such video conferences where your surrogate and your coordinator will be present, and this coordinator will help to translate all the information, so you won't feel any discomfort or something like that. So once we have all the documents done, we have selected the surrogate. We have signed the contract, the surrogacy contract with you, because there are several types of documents. There are documents which are signed at the clinic. These are consents for the provision of the medical services, different agreements. But there is one surrogacy contract which is signed at the notary public together with the surrogate mother, and this contract can be only signed once you choose the surrogate mother, obviously. So once we have all that done, we can start the preparation of the uterine lining of the surrogate for the embryo transfer.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much again for providing all the details how we can start with the surrogacy program. And of course, let's go to the next question. So, how the surrogate and or donor will be checked before the actual program starts?
Mm-hmm. So I have already told you about the surrogate checking. As I have told, there is the required list of tests, which is written in the Ukrainian law, but the clinics prefer to add some testing to their general list, but this list of all those tests, it may be added with other ones according to the doctor's recommendation. But it is like the perfect list, which would help our doctors to see that she's healthy and to be confident 100% sure in that. And as for the egg donor, egg donation in Ukraine is also legal. The egg donor can become only a woman who, the same as surrogate, who has already given the birth to at least one healthy child. She has, in the Ukrainian law, it is written that she has to be in the range of 18 to 35. But at our clinic, we do not accept donors older than 30 because our doctors tell that we understand that there is a high risk of developing some genetic problems which can be passed to the baby. So it might be a bit risky, so we prefer to have surrogates up to 28, 30. Well, I'm sorry, donors up to 28, 30. This egg donor, after the initial consultation, she will also do the big list of testing. We will check her hormone levels. She will be checked on the presence of different diseases, including genetic ones. So we will need to make sure that she's genetically healthy. And so she also doesn't have to have bad habits, something like that. She has to be healthy. only after all the testing, we can offer it to our couples, to our patients, and well, so that is the way how they are checked before the program.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much again for providing the details. And now let me see the next one. So I need to come over to Ukraine to actually start the program?
In fact, it is always better when intended parents come to Ukraine before the start of the program, but it isn't always the case because there are different circumstances, and sometimes couples just don't have a possibility to come. But how to do that distantly? And so, as I already mentioned, this has to be process. It has to be under the support of the lawyers. For example, we cooperate with the international independent law firm, which helps our patients with all the legal aspects, and it is already included into all our programs because we do not understand how to be without that. So our lawyers can. So this firm can prepare the power of attorney, which will be given to any of your representatives in Ukraine. For example, there are even cases when people have some friends or something like that in Ukraine, and they give this power of attorney to them. Another way is to give it to one of the lawyers. There is nothing extraordinary written in that power of attorney, so it isn't that scary like to give this document to someone, because it is clearly written in that this document it only allows to sign surrogacy related documents, and will be done only upon your consent. But in any case, it is the other way how to start without coming. We are always happy to see any of our patients, but this is the way when couples cannot come. It can be done, the power of attorney can be given to their representative, and there won't be any problem.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. I'm here. Don't worry. So thanks so much for explaining this one to us as well. And how do I know that our baby and surrogate receive all pregnancy care needed?
Throughout all the program, uh, from the moment that your surrogate starts the uterine lining preparation, each of our patients receives the regular update on anything which is done with the surrogate. For example, once the surrogate gets pregnant, we can, if couples live abroad, we can do like online video calls when the surrogate is during her ultrasound. We can record everything. We can make it online or something. But it is, of course, it is the way which has to be agreed with the intended parents. We would like the couples to be involved as much in this process as they really want to. But in any case, even our intended parents, they receive the regular updates, reports on the surrogate's health. They will be able to see everything on their own. We will be sending photographs, videos, and everything. Most of our surrogates, like all of our surrogates, they are happy to have a conversation. We can arrange it at any time. Like there is nothing to hide or something like that. So anything that will be done for the surrogate, any of her moves, any of her visits to the doctor, you will receive all the information, all the updates, and you will be able to know everything.
Thank you again so much for well advising us here, as well as the just letting us know that this is definitely well taken care of as well, this part. Okay, and now let's see. This is a very important question, yes? So will there be my surrogate's name on the birth certificate?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's an interesting question. Let's go back to lawyers.
Yes.
Yes. Once the labor starts and the surrogate gives a birth to a baby, on the following day, there will be issued the medical birth certificate, which is issued in the hospital, the maternity hospital where a baby is born. Lawyers take this document and all the documents they have prepared for the registration of your child before, and they, together with you, go to the civil registry office, and on the basis of all the information, all the documentation that they will be having with them, the civil registry office will issue you the Ukrainian birth certificate. It looks like a blue piece of paper. It is a beautiful one, my favorite one, and there will be written only your name. The intended father will be written as the biological father. Intended mother will be written as the biological mother. There won't be a surrogate's name on the birth certificate.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you so much. Definitely an important question for.
Of course, the registration of the child in each particular country, it differs. So the lawyers will give the best recommendation if you will need the apostle for that translation or something. So you will know that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And what is the waiting time to be matched with a surrogate, and how long it will take to begin a cycle for surrogacy?
As it really doesn't take a lot of time to start the cycle of surrogacy. In fact, it all depends on the type of the surrogacy you will need. For example, we may do the surrogacy using both intended mothers and intended fathers' biological material, which means that intended mother has to do the ovarian stimulation in advance. The procedure will be the following. We will sign all the documents. The intended mother has to be fully tested before the ovarian stimulation and to do the ovarian stimulation itself. In the meantime, we can prepare, you can select your surrogate and we can do all the documents with her. In this case, this process depends on the start of your stimulation, your ovarian stimulation, because to be honest, the waiting time there, as a rule, it is at our clinic, it is like 2 weeks or something. There isn't such a big waiting time. The most of the time is it is devoted to all the documents and the type of the program the parents will need. So if it is the program with the parents' biological material, so it will be approximately like 2 months until the start. So the first month we will devote to all the first month we will devote to your testing before the ovarian stimulation. And then from the second day of your menstrual cycle, we can start the ovarian stimulation. And in 10, 12 days, you will come for the egg collection. And then 5 days for the embryo culture. And then we can do the fresh embryo transfer. So as a rule, it is like not more than 2 months. There are also cases when intended parents need to use the donor's material, but there is one important thing. In Ukraine, the embryo which will be transferred into the surrogate's uterus, it doesn't have to have any genetic link to the surrogate mother, so she cannot become a donor and a surrogate at the same time. These have to be different persons. Another important thing is that that embryo, which will be transferred, it has to have the genetic link to at least one intended parent. It means that the donor's material biological, it can be used only from one side. For example, we can take only donor's eggs and partner sperm, or a partner sperm and donor's eggs, like only from one side only. But the waiting time in this case is like the same. It isn't the waiting time; it is the action time. To be honest, it's like the preparation, but it is quite active and not more than in 2 months we will be able to do the embryo transfer. If, of course, if a couple wants to begin right away, if there are some questions, if they need to have something finished or something like that. Another thing that may delay the start is the PGD testing, for example, the genetic testing of the embryos. Some of the couples would like to have their embryos tested on a genetic level to make sure they're transferring a healthy embryo into the surrogate uterus. But that is totally another story. And the last case is when intended parents, they have already created embryos in the past, and they have them stored at some medical facility. So they will just need to hire the company, the special courier company, which will transport this biological material, these embryos, to Ukraine, to the clinic. There are different companies which are doing that. We have one that we used to work with. They were great. So from our experience, it's not a problem. The documentation can be taken care of. And this is this one when people have their embryos already created somewhere. The only thing that needs to be waited for is their transportation to Ukraine, and and we will need to wait during the stimulation of the preparation of the uterine lining of the surrogate until the embryo transfer. So that's that. It can be also done like in 1 month. So if the couple is ready and eager to start everything as soon as possible, it will be done.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much for answering again another question and explaining the process. Definitely, it doesn't sound too complicated when you are explaining that. Thank you so much. Okay, and now what are the costs of surrogacy in Ukraine? How they compare with other countries like the UK or US?
The cost of surrogacy in Ukraine is, in comparison with other countries, it is much more affordable than in the US, for example. In Ukraine, the surrogacy costs, they differ because there are a lot of clinics, agencies which are offering surrogacy services, and the price is different. It is the range. It also depends on the type of the program patients will need. As I have told, with their own biological material, with donors material, or with the embryo transfer, which of the embryos which they already have. It all depends, but it is in the range of 30,000 euro to 50,000 euro, because there are different programs which may include like a lot. Some of them include several embryo transfers. Some of them include genetic testing of embryos, egg donors, 1 or 2. Like there is a huge choice for intended parents in Ukraine, and I am sure that everyone will be able to find the best option and the best place where they will be feeling comfortable and safe, and they will be able to trust the whole process, because that's important. You know, that's like for a year, for a year you are with you are cooperating with someone. it is becoming a part of the life, and that's very important to feel that trust. But in the USA, let's go back to the prices. In the USA, the price, the average price, it is like the prices are in the range of 100,000. I'm sorry. So the price is in the range of 100,000 to, I'm sorry, from 100,000 to 170,000 euro. So as you can see, the price difference is rather big. So it is quite understandable why people decide to come to Ukraine, because beside the price, you get the actual services done. And despite it is another country, each clinics who cares for the intended parents can do this process comfortable. So.
All right, perfect. And so I understand you probably also have many patients from the US, etc., right? So, could you perhaps tell us from where those patients usually are, if it's okay?
Yes. There are a lot of patients, intended parents who come from the US, and we have a lot of couples from Europe. The big percentage of our couples who come for surrogacy are from, for example, from Poland, from different European countries, and from the US.
Perfect. Thank you so much for answering those most common questions. Of course, some of your question probably will be quite similar, but I know that Anna will be able to just simply advise. So as I mentioned, now it is your time for the questions. So again, let me just simply remind you to type them all in the chat section. And so Anna will be able to help you out. Okay, and now let's go to the first question. Now we have, so does the couple has to be married, or is surrogacy possible for unmarried couple living together since 15 years? That's a very interesting question for sure.
The couple has to be officially married. That is one of the first requirements, one of the first ones.
Okay, so it's just not possible. You need to have the marriage certificate. Without it, not possible to start.
It won't be legal.
Okay, understood. In Ukraine, just this is the law. Nothing that you can do. Okay. Thank you for your question. Definitely an important one in such case.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you for answering this. Okay, you already have mentioned actually, yes, that is a possibility, but if you could take a look. Is surrogacy possible with our frozen embryos? We have frozen embryos from egg donation and no sperm. We would not like to lose them as the transfer are failing one after another.
This question, it can be answered in a few ways. The first thing that I wanted to ask you, were those embryos genetically tested? But in any case, it is possible to use such embryos for the surrogacy purposes. The only thing that you will need to provide the document before the shipping of those, before transporting these embryos, there will be a need to provide a document, the certificate on the genetic affinity. It isn't a big deal. We just send you the document and you give it to the medical facility where your embryos are stored right now, and they just fill it out and they give it to the courier, so there should not be any problem with that. But if it is the egg donor and your sperm, you meet the requirement on the law on that issue, so it can be used.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Actually, there's a follow-up question about company, yes, that can ship the embryos. So, do you collaborate? You have mentioned that, but can you tell us, help us with organizing the transport for the embryos to Ukraine? Do we have to be on site in Ukraine when the transport arrives and sign any documents or confirm the delivery?
Okay. You don't have to be in Ukraine when the transport arrives or sign any documents to confirm the delivery. You need to contact the medical facility where your embryos are stored and inform them that we would like to transport our embryos from you to another clinic, for example, in Ukraine. This medical facility may need some documents from you, from your side. As a rule, it is some written consent or something like that. But it all depends on the medical facility where your embryos are stored right now. We have the courier company which help our patients from all over the world to transport the biological material. We have been working with them for years, but they are working independently from us. So we just give the contacts of this company, and then the couple is communicating with them, finding out the price and the shortest terms of the transportation. So no, you don't have to be in Ukraine when the embryos arrive. You just need to contact the medical facility where your embryos are and do everything that they ask you to do from your part to confirm that you agree to transport those embryos somewhere. And then the courier would take care of everything else.
Okay, there's actually another follow-up question from the very same patient. Okay, so like she added that our embryos were not genetically tested, but they are from donor X, so should be of good quality.
Yes,
Perfect.
you're right.
Just wanted to add it, but that's okay, of course. Thank you. And now this is the next question about nationality. What is the legal procedure after the birth? What documents receive the baby and what nationality? When is the journey to the partner's home country possible?
So the legal process after the birth, it is something that lawyers should take care of. So you won't have to worry about what documents to collect or something like that, because as far as I know, they are taking different consents and the documents on the genetic affinity of the baby. And they are taking your passports and something. I just do not want to misinform you because this this law firm is taking care of all of that, and I am not quite sure, to be honest. They are taking all the documents, and as the result of it, the Civil Registry Office issues the Ukrainian birth certificate. So it is the Ukrainian birth certificate. The lawyers will help you with the further registration process in your own country. I cannot tell you when is the journey to the partner's home country possible, because it all depends on the specific country. For example, some countries, they require the genetic testing of you will need to give to the embassy the evidence that this baby is yours. You will need to do this genetic testing, and once you do it, you wait for the result for approximately a month, and then you give all the documents to the embassy and everything. Some of the countries, they just do not. So some of the countries, they do not need that. They have other procedure. That is why at the beginning, at the start of each program, like even before its actual start, the lawyers will consult you on everything regarding your particular country. They will recommend you on the exit process. But in any case, you won't be left alone with that. I'm sorry, but I won't be able to give like the exact answer to this question because it depends on the country. That's that.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, there are several questions.
Yes, I'm sorry. I mean DNA testing. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Somebody is right. DNA testing. I'm sorry.
DNA testing. Okay. Yes, you saw the. Okay, it's right here. Of course, the question here. Okay. So there's another one actually about nationality. So not sure if you can exactly answer, but let's have a look. So what nationality would the baby have? So me and my partner have different nationalities. Will the baby have Ukrainian, the intended mother's nationality, or intended father nationality?
It's to be honest, I have no idea. It is something that the lawyers deal with. As far as I know, I remember there was such a case, and the couple was deciding on which way to register the child. To have the intended mother's nationality or intended father's. And as far as I remember, they needed to select. They had a choice.
Okay.
Yes, as far as I remember that.
It's okay. I mean, remember that you can always just also get in touch with the team, and of course, I'm sure Anna will be able to check it with her team to provide.
Yes, sure.
And just in case, let me just send you the link where you can simply forward your questions, such questions, of course, to Anna, and as I've mentioned, her team will definitely get back to you as well. Okay, because of course it's a very important question about nationality, and actually there are several questions here that that are quite similar. For example, let me just simply show you. Sorry, I just need to find it. Okay, yeah. For instance, I have Finnish nationality, but my husband is from outside European Union, but have European residence permit. So I guess that will be again a matter for lawyer to simply check and see.
You can contact us after that, and I will go and ask the lawyers.
Perfect. Exactly. Not a problem. We will be happy to forward such questions also to Anna, and she will definitely can consult with her team and will get back.
Yes, sure.
Perfect. Okay, and let's have a look at the next question. So how is the surrogacy mother controlled during the pregnancy under medical aspect, psychological needs, etc.?
So first of all, each of the surrogates, they will be having their own coordinator who will be in the daily touch with them. They will be making sure that she has everything she needs, that she is feeling fine, and she's just great and doesn't need anything additional. But she's having her scheduled visits to the doctor. She is informed well in advance about them, and she receives all the pregnancy care that any pregnant woman will need. But in addition that she is in such an interesting situation. She is a surrogate mother, and she's carrying a child for another woman, another couple. So the psychological needs should be also satisfied, let's say. So at the very beginning, before starting the surrogacy, she will be having a conversation with the specialist who will be able to see whether she is capable of doing that from the psychological point of view. And throughout all this process, whenever she needs and like on the regular basis, these talks will be also done, these conversations. So we we do take care of that, and we make sure that she feels well from that point of view. But as far for the medical aspect, she receives everything and even more from that point of view. She is closely monitored. She is having all the tests required done. As for the medication, any needed vitamins or something like that, she will also always receive that, and will be having everything necessary to carry the child, to successfully carry the child, and to give a birth to a healthy baby. So, of course, the intended parents are always informed about that, and they can always ask the surrogate whether she's taking good care of. As I have told, it is not a problem to arrange consultation or, to a video conference, to arrange that video conference, to talk with her, and there is nothing
Perfect.
extraordinary in that.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Well, again, this is a question that you have mentioned already. You have been explaining this, but perhaps anything that you could add. Can you tell the approximate time frame? So, from the first point, let's say, yes, to how does it work?
So let us suppose you send us your first message. You are inquiring about the program. Let's say you already have your embryos somewhere, and you would like to start the surrogacy. First, we tell you all the services included: medical, legal, organizational, and if you agree to them, if you agree to the costs and everything, then we can start moving to the documents. You can come to the clinic to sign the documents, for example, on the following day or in a week time. But in order to sign everything and to get all the documents prepared, let us take for example, 2 weeks to select your surrogate. Once you select your surrogate, you will be having a video conference with her. And you will tell that, well, that is my perfect choice, and we will arrange and schedule the date when you will be able to come to sign the documents and to meet your surrogate in person, to meet the medical staff, the doctors, coordinators, embryologists, to see how everything works. So from the moment of your first inquiry to that day of your arrival, it might be like several weeks. As I have told before, it all depends on the eagerness of the couple to start. There isn't a long waiting time for the surrogate. As a rule, it is 2 weeks, something like that.
Perfect.
Let us. I will tell once again about the documents because it might be confusing. I don't know the exact wording about that. Documents. There are several types of documents. There are documents which are at the clinic. These are consents, agreements on the provision of the medical services, like the agreement for, consent for the embryo transfer, for the warming of embryos. There is a document for each medical manipulation that will be done. I agree that my embryo has to be warmed, and another document for I agree that my embryo has to be transferred into the surrogate's uterus. The surrogate will also sign these type of documents, agreeing to have all those manipulations done on her. The embryo transfer. These are one part of the documents. In this type of all those documentation, there won't be a word about for example, the compensations or something like that. All that essential information, it will be in another type of agreement. It is called the surrogacy contract, and it is drafted by the lawyers and is signed only between you and your surrogate at the notary public. Of course, in our presence, because we are always facilitating that process for you. And so you come to the notary public, your surrogate comes to the notary public in a week or like 2 weeks before. You will receive this surrogacy contract drafted by the lawyers. You will be able to read it through, to offer your suggestions, to ask you questions, to give some remarks, anything. The same thing will be done for the surrogate. She will also read that contract. She will go through that, and she will be able to tell what she likes and what she doesn't like about that. So a few weeks in advance before the signing this contract, you will have both sides will have to read it through and confirm it. So at the day of the signing, both of the parties they come to the notary public and sign everything. So this is about the documents at the clinic for the agreements for the medical services and the surrogacy contract itself. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much for answering in detail about the documents. Definitely, it's a very important question. And so
I have forgotten. I'm sorry. I have forgotten to tell one thing, that all the documents, they are in two languages. They are one part in Ukrainian, another part, the same part in English.
Perfect. Yep, perfect. Thank you so much for that then. And here's the next question that we have. When can we start the procedure, and are there any circumstances now because of the pandemic situation? Can we travel to Ukraine?
Most of our borders, they are now closed, and it is possible to come to Ukraine. There are only some trading couriers or something like that allowed. A person, our patients who were about to start their process or who were about to ship them biological material to start IVF or surrogacy or like something, it has all stopped. We are not able to receive any material. We are not able to start anything. And in addition, according to all the international recommendations, during this pandemic situation, we have postponed all the cycles. It means that we do not start cycles in this situation right now. So it is not possible to start something like fresh, new in this case. The couriers will be also able to travel to other countries a bit later. But in any case, we are always in touch with the couriers who help us, and they will tell the exact information from the first person. We will know that. But right now, the situation is such that we are not able to start anything, and a lot
need to wait until it's well.
Yes,
it will get back.
The whole world is now in this situation.
Yes, exactly. So, yes, unfortunately, but let's hope it will be quite over very soon. Okay, perfect.
I hope to.
Exactly. Thank you again for your question as well as your answer. And here's another one. So we actually have been looking into your clinic for surrogacy, as our friend have been baby born on December via your help, and they are extremely happy with the service. One more question is, we don't know the country and language, so do you assist with accommodation, translation, nanny, and all guidance when we will be in Ukraine?
Yes, sure. We have coordinators. As for the language, we have coordinators who speak different languages. For example, English, Polish, French, and if it's going to deal with the translation, so there won't be any problem. We will help with everything. Each of our patients has their own coordinator who helps with all the organizational details, who informs about the treatment process, but in addition, this person will help with booking some accommodation to help me, will be helping to stay in the country and in that city very comfortable. She or he will make the stay very comfortable. And will be able to help with any arrangements and will be available at any time of the day or night. Yes.
Perfect. That sounds very, very good, of course. So you don't need to be worried when you're there. You don't know anyone or the English. That's excellent.
No, we have such a beautiful city, you know. When this pandemic will be over, we have a huge number of tourists, and
Perfect.
It's very beautiful. So it's worth coming just to see.
Okay, fantastic. Sounds good. Okay, and now let's have a look at the next question. What are the different surrogacy programs available? Is egg donation included? Can we use own frozen embryos from donated eggs? You have mentioned that, but perhaps can you tell us the programs?
Yes. I wanted to tell once again that the donated biological material can be used, but it can be used only from one side, which means that you can use, for example, you can use donor's eggs, but use intended father's sperm, or you can use donor's sperm and intended mother's eggs. It means that at least one of intended parents has to have the biological genetic link to the embryo, which will be transferred into the surrogate's uterus. Yes, there must be a genetic connection from at least one intended parent. As for now, the programs which are available is by using the biological material of intended parents from both of them, is using egg donation, but only egg or sperm donation, but only from one side. Or you can use your own frozen embryos, which are stored somewhere else. You can just transport them and use them for your surrogacy. But remember that those embryos which you are going to use, there is also this rule applied that they have to be created from at least the biological material of at least one intended parent has to be used in the creation of this embryo.
Yes, perfect. This is very important, of course, right? Because
yes.
If you would like to use egg donor and sperm donor, it's not possible.
Because in order to have this birth certificate in the end, there will be required a document that you have that at least one of the parents has the genetic affinity to that embryo.
Okay.
In addition, that it's not legal, you won't be even able to register the child if it doesn't have the genetic link to at least parents.
Perfect. Thank you for explaining that. And we have 2 questions. So let me show you those. So do you also have clients from Switzerland? And there's a follow-up. So let me show you right here. My husband and I are Swiss. Switzerland is not a European Union country. Do you have any Swiss customers? Is the surrogacy process complicated with the Swiss parents? Have you had any?
To be honest, we haven't had any intended parents from Switzerland yet.
Okay, all right. So hard to say, but
as we have told, you can contact us later, and I will ask the lawyers right away.
Yep, perfect.
About the exit process to your country. So
yes, of course. As I mentioned, you can always use the link that there is in the chat. I will send it in a second, and you will be able to just simply ask your questions. So those detailed ones about so it will be possible for you to get your answer. And now let's go to the next question. So what is the price range of the surrogacy program in Ukraine?
In Ukraine, the price range is the price is in the range of 30,000 euro to 50,000 euro. it all depends on the type of the services which will be included, whether it will be the donor's material or it will be the own biological material, or like I have told before, the embryos, the frozen embryo transfer. So it all depends, and there are different programs which include something additionally, like something like clothing for surrogate. Well, there is also the like accommodation for her. Also, that there are different additional medical services, such as additional set of donors' eggs, as well, something like that. Because there is a very big choice of the programs and the clinics in Ukraine, and everyone will be able to find the best option, I'm sure.
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much for answering that question as well. And now let's have a look. Okay, you have actually explained that they are not, right? The couriers are not working now during the
No,
pandemic.
right now, no.
Exactly. Okay. And so let's have a look at the next question. So how does one prove to embassy in our own country that the baby is mine with an Ukrainian birth certificate?
As far as I know, the Ukrainian birth certificate, it will be translated, and if you need the apostille, it will also be done, and then the lawyers will advise you on the type of the documents which you will need to have while addressing your specific embassy. So you will need to go to the embassy with the translated documents. So it will be, and with the set of the documents that you will need. But in any case, this is the question to lawyers, which you can pose after this our webinar, and I will ask the lawyers and I will give you the answer.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much again for answering that. I mean, of course, again, it's more of a question to your team and your lawyers, of course. So again, let me
If
remind.
I knew, I would have taken them with me.
Yes, of course, it's definitely okay. We will forward your questions, such questions, to you know to Anna, so she will be able to get back to you. Okay, and so let me just have a look. Okay, that's interesting one. Do we meet the surrogacy mother? Can we stay in touch with her directly during the pregnancy?
Most of the surrogate mothers, they prefer having the contact with the intended parents in our presence, because they feel more comfortable with that. But in any case, you should need to understand that it all depends on the mutual consent, mutual understanding. If if the surrogate will be okay with that, and you will be okay with that, that it can be done. But to be honest, like in 99% cases, we are always present during these meetings in person or through the video conference. In any case, if you are from another country, most of the surrogates, they do not speak the foreign language. There are such, but we do not know if she will be yours. So we are facilitating this communication. And our intended couples say that, well, that all is good.
Yep, perfect. Thank you so much. And now let me go to the next question. So, how many embryos can be transferred at once to surrogate mother?
So, according to the Ukrainian legislation, the maximum number which can be transferred into the woman's uterus by the IVF, it is 3. But at Parens, we never do that. The maximum number to be transferred is 2 embryos. Yes, and for the surrogate mother as well. To be honest, we try to select those surrogates who haven't had any operations like surgeries in the past. For example, she didn't have the cesarean section because if couple decides that they want to have the two embryos transferred, it is harder to transfer two embryos into the uterus of the surrogate mother who has already had a C-section. Our doctors never agree to that. So we try to find the surrogates who haven't had this surgery in the past. Most of our surrogates don't. And as a rule, we transfer one embryo because you need to understand that this isn't the final decision is made by you. You will be able to receive all the necessary recommendations from IVF specialists, from embryologists, and you will be have the advice on your case. And on the basis of it, you will make the decision on how many embryos to transfer. But we should know this information well in advance because not each surrogate wants to carry two children, twins, because they are not quite sure if this pregnancy will go well. Because such pregnancies, they often have complications, they are more difficult and everything. So it has to be told in advance that we should have double embryo transfer. And we will focus on finding the surrogate who is medically okay for that and who is eager to do that, who wants to do that, and who is totally good with that.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much again for your assistance with that question. There's another question, so quite interesting one as well. What guarantees do you give to the parents? Is there a guarantee of a live birth, of a clinical pregnancy only? What happens if a surrogacy other does not get pregnant mother?
I know that some of the clinics they offer, they have the guarantee packages, like we guarantee the live birth or we guarantee the money back or something like that. But Parents doesn't have such type of a program. We do not have any guarantee because it doesn't seem like ethical for us to guarantee you can guarantee only like something that is the actual thing, or it is we have decided that it won't be ethical to guarantee such kind of thing. But in the most of our cases, the surrogate mother, she gets pregnant from the first time and everything goes well and everyone is happy and all is good. But we need to understand that there are different cases, and sometimes the surrogate doesn't get pregnant from the first embryo transfer. She might need the second one. In such case, the intended parents, they will need to make, if we are talking about the payments, they do another payment which is much less in comparison with that payment that they have already done, because we have already a lot of things covered, such as the finding of surrogate and her testing, the contracts and everything. So that won't be a big amount in comparison with the first one. But in any case, each of our programs, if we are talking about our programs, so each of them, it is divided into the 4 stages. So there won't, so you don't need to pay the whole amount like in advance. You just pay for what actually will be done.
Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. Thank you again. And there's another interesting question here. So what if the genetic testing detects some abnormalities about the baby during different stages of pregnancy? Will the pregnancy be continued or not? Will the legal parents have a word to say about the future measures or not?
So, if when the surrogate is pregnant, and if something, she will be doing different testing, and there are several genetic screenings on different pregnancy terms, and if something, some abnormality is detected, then you will be having a consultation with the doctor. And you will be having the final word about what to do in this situation. You are the main people who will decide on how to deal with this situation on the basis of the recommendations you will receive from the doctors. The only case when parents they won't be able to decide if something happens during the pregnancy and it poses a strong danger to surrogate's health. In this case, the parents they cannot make the decision to continue the pregnancy because otherwise the surrogate will die or something. That is the only case when the doctors decide. But if it is something like genetic abnormalities or something connected with that, that is only your decision on how to proceed with that.
All right. Thank you so much for answering this very important question as well, for sure. You already have mentioned that, of course, the documents are also in English, right? So this is not a problem.
Yes.
Now let's go to the next question. So does your laboratory use the same procedures and chemical agents, etc., as the home clinic during the embryos warming procedure? Do you adjust your procedures to have the same ones as the home clinic?
Of course, when the embryos will be transported from another clinic, they will have the necessary documentation on the way of their freezing or on the way of their vitrification. But as a rule, everyone uses the same process of the vitrification. But I understand what you are asking about because we had such case that the sperm samples have arrived and the embryologists embryologists saw that there is a different way how to worm them, and they have taken that into account and they have did everything perfectly. So it is all included into that documentation. Together with embryos or, for example, eggs arrive, sperm arrives, there is everything should be indicated. In any case, we can contact that clinic. It's not a problem at all.
Perfect. Thank you so much again for confirming that. And so here's the next question. So if the baby is from a donor eggs, it will not have my genetic DNA. I wonder how the baby can be qualified as mine.
I think I have answered that before because...
Anything additional that you could add to this?
I think, no, it doesn't have to be connected to you directly, but it has to have a connection to at least, for example, if not you, then your husband.
Yep.
And it will all be good.
Exactly. Perfect. Thank you so much again for this. And now this is again an interesting question here. So what is the worst scenario that can happen during surrogacy? Can you also name a couple of problems that arose during the surrogacy based on your experience?
The worst scenarios that we can imagine, they are different, and so some of them, they are horrifying. But by the way, they are all written down in the surrogacy contract, which is drafted by the lawyers. There are even cases which there are sentences, points which describe what should be done when, for example, one of the intended parents die, or the surrogate dies during the labor, baby dies, miscarriages, and everything. In this contract, it is all written what each party should do in this case. But if we are talking about our experience, the worst problem that we had is that the surrogate was hospitalized like 2 months before the actual date of delivery, because she had some problem, the medical problem, and the doctors told that it would be better for her to stay in the pathology department and to be under the full doctor's control until the delivery. And at the end, she had to have the C-section. She had some bleeding, but it was all good just because she was under the doctor's control. You see, we at any point of during the pregnancy, it is possible to see if something goes wrong, and if there is some kind of problem, we just doctors do everything to decrease the risk. In case the hospitalization is needed, it will be done. Well,
thank you so much.
That was the worst scenario with us. But I didn't want to scare you with all those things which I told at the very beginning. But we need to understand that the pregnancy as the result of surrogacy, its course, it isn't much different from the one when the woman gets pregnant naturally. The complications might be the same, and it isn't different. It is only different at the very beginning because the type of the way of her getting pregnant, for example, she will needing to take medication because if she won't be doing that, the pregnancy won't occur in the first place, and there will be just a miscarriage, and that's that. And the doctor will take these medications off at the 9th, 10th week of pregnancy. So, and then there is a regular pregnancy, and everything can happen. And we prefer to be prepared for everything and hope only for best.
Well, of course, definitely staying positive is very important. But of course, thank you for your honest answer on that question. Yes, definitely. Again, important. And so we will be finishing very soon. There are like a few questions left. But of course, if you have any other questions, go ahead, and this is your, like, let's say, final call for type them all in. Okay, so please just go ahead and do it. And I know you have answered that, but if you could just simply mention it one more time. So what happens if surrogate does not get pregnant and you only had one embryo?
If you this means that if we do the embryo transfer and at the very beginning the couple, the intended parents, they have only one embryo and the pregnancy doesn't occur from that one, we will need to start the first stage of the program once again. Our actions, it will actually depend on the type of the program you had from the very beginning. If, for example, if you have received this one embryo as the result of your IVF treatment and you have received only this one embryo, it is more likely that you will be recommended to use the donor's material after that. If it is the embryo which you have already created in the past, then we will recommend you on creating new embryos. And it will be like so-called another start of the program, but of course, all the organization and everything, they will be discussed with you, and there will be different pricing and everything. So it will, it is all discussed according to a particular situation. But in any case, the solution is always there. I can see it from my experience.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for answering that one. And let's go to this question. So, how much does an IVF procedure with egg donor cost with your clinic, supposing that we don't have any embryos yet?
Mm-hmm. So we have different egg donation plus surrogacy packages. The price range is from 30 something thousand to euro to 50,000 euro. Yes, they are different because they have different services included.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you so much again. And there is another question that we have. Okay, so do you perform amniocentesis and other tests like NIFT to the surrogate mother?
We do not do the first test, but we do different tests which can detect some genetic problems with the baby on the earliest terms. There can be done NIP testing or any other additional test that the intended parents are worried about. But in any case, of this, each surrogate is getting each necessary required test done. We have to be sure that she is healthy and the baby is healthy and there is no problem. So from starting from the earliest terms of pregnancy, she will be doing those tests.
Thank you so much. And this is a very short question. So, is your clinic in Lviv or elsewhere in Ukraine? Lviv. Okay, perfect. Thank you. And at least for now, it seems that we will have our last question. But once again, if you have any left, go ahead and type them all in. Yes, there is another question. Thank you. Okay, so if you could tell us how many babies, live births have you achieved to how many surrogate transfers so far? Do you have any numbers like that by any chance?
Mm-hmm. We start approximately two surrogacy programs for a month. But of course, during the March and April, we were not able to start anything. We were just signing contracts or something like that.
And thank you once again for this. And let me just have a look. Yes, it seems that we do have one more question here. Is it mentioned that the embryo is genetically tested or in order to proceed with surrogacy?
No. There isn't such kind of condition. It can be the recommendation from the doctor or from the geneticist, or it can be a strong desire from your side. Because as I can see from the experience, most couples who are over 35, they prefer having their embryos tested, but it isn't the 100% case. So.
Thank you so much. I am just would like to answer your, it's a very good suggestion here that we received. It's of course not a question, but okay, I mean about the chance to actually invite a lawyer for such a webinar so that they could explain how it works.
They would be happy.
Yes, exactly. So, thank you for that. As I mentioned, it has been noted. We are still preparing some, of course, some of the actual topics. So anything that you have, you would like to know or find out, or have another webinar on another topic with perhaps also lawyers, that's definitely something that we will be thinking about. Thank you so much for that. In the meantime, we had another question. So let me just simply get it here. How many surrogate mothers do you work with?
We have enough surrogate mothers to start our surrogacy program. So as I have told, we start approximately 2 for a month. But there are now we are having a lot of surrogates without a couple who are just waiting for for the end of their testing, and for their couple, because they want to start this process, but they don't have anyone. For example, now I have something like 10 surrogates who want to become surrogates, but
understood. Thank you so much. And perhaps you can tell us what's live birth statistic in your clinic when it comes to surrogacy?
When it comes to surrogacy, to be honest, I need to remember that.
Yeah, if you don't have it at hand, of course, as I've mentioned, we will be happy to forward this question, and you
yes,
will be able to back.
I know that the success rates by using the donor's material are 78% at the clinic, if we are talking about the IVFs. And if we're talking about the surrogacy, it is something like 70. But it all depends on the each particular case, because we should take into consideration the biological material, which we use, the age of intended parents, and everything, their medical state. So that's all very important.
That is true. So thank you, of course, so much. And as I've mentioned, if you have any follow-up questions, of course, you can also send it to the link. I will.
Yes, sure. Any of them.
Get in touch with Anna and her team, and they will be happy to help you. As I mentioned, I have noted that you would also be interested in a meeting with a lawyer, of course, as well. I know it's important, so we definitely will keep that in mind. Okay, and I guess that will be it for today. And well, thank you so much, Anna, for all the details. This is a very complicated process for sure, surrogacy in general, but to be honest, you made it really sound really easy. So thank you so much for that. And in such case, as I've mentioned, we will be finishing any questions that you might have to a lawyer or Anna. You can use the link that I have sent you just now, and you will be able to be in touch with the whole team, of course, from Parens. And well, Anna, I just wanted to again thanks so much. There are some patients that also found it useful, so thank you for organizing. It was extremely interesting. Happy
thank
to
you too. Thank you too, and thank each of you who asked the questions. It was it makes me feel good to understand that it was interesting for you, that I might have helped you to understand this process better. But in any case, I'm ready to answer any questions after that.
Perfect. And just so you know, this is another comment here. Very positive thinking. Seems that surrogacy is not that complicated. Exactly. That's what I mentioned, that you made it sound very, very easy, which is definitely good, because I know that lots of patients, this is like worrying, and you are thinking that it's very, very complicated. And you have explained it very, very well, for sure. All right. So again, this is it for today, but stay tuned as we are starting our next event in around 20 minutes at 8 p.m. UK time. So stay tuned and join us for our next webinar. Also, Anna, once again, huge thank you for joining us today as well. This has been recorded, so of course this will be found again on the same website, and you will be able to watch it again. All our previous and future events you can find on myivfanswers.com. You can also follow us on YouTube channel. You will be up to date when a new video is uploaded. Huge thank you to all of you for joining us tonight. And Anna, well, it was definitely a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
And well, hopefully we will be able to do it again with the help of the lawyers as well.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Good night.
Okay.
Bye.
Good night. Bye. Bye. Bye, everyone.